Well, good morning, Mindy. We have another little session on our Allen Parish Gumbo.
Yes, we do. And we're going to just get right into it. Today, we're going to talk about the boards that are under the Allen Parish Police Jury. The first one, we're going to talk about the new one. Okay, the Allen Parish Economic Development District Board was created in this last session.
And when you say last session, Mindy, you're talking about the last legislative session, which ended in June?
June of 2026, yes. Right. It's a separate political subdivision. However, the police jury will approve the powers exercised by this board.
Right. I think what happened is there was an amendment added to that bill when it was introduced, Mindy, to ensure that this board, who are non-elected officials, couldn't go out and do anything on their own without it being brought up before the police jury at a public meeting, and the police jury would sign off on it.
Correct.
Is my understanding.
Right. And that is, it's House Bill 247, Act 398. And it's a 5-member board, and the positions of the various entities in the parish are what dictates who the board members are. For instance, the 2 Chamber of Commerces that are in Allen Parish, the president of those chambers will be on the board. But Oakdale does not have a president of the chamber. So
it'll be interesting to see how that position is filled.
Correct. Right. Then you'll have the Industrial Development Board president will be on that committee. The state representative or his designee will be on it, and the police jury president. So those positions will make up this 5-member board.
Right. And the Allen Parish Economic Development Board, like we said, was created in the last legislative session, where they dissolved the Allen Parish Tourist Commission and created this Allen Parish Economic Development Board, and that this Economic Development Board was to assume all of the assets that were previously owned by the Allen Parish Tourist Commission.
Correct. And I guess that is the reason that the only thing the board can exercise power without the approval of the police jury is to levy an occupancy tax. Right. So I guess that is left over from the Tourist Commission.
Right. That's how the Tourist Commission operated. It was off. That's the money they operated off of, was occupancy tax. So I'm sure that's going to continue on for this Economic Development Board. So that's how they're going to have some funds to operate.
Right. And an occupancy tax is usually levied by hotels and motels, cabins, camping spots, those type of things. That's who pays that, or the tourists.
Right.
Besides the Economic Development Board, one of the things that came up in the police jury meeting in July was Gary Monk. His term expired on the Industrial Board, and he was not asked to continue.
Right.
So there's an open spot for that board, which, if I understand, there was just 3 members.
Right. That's what I understood. And then, Mindy, correct me if I'm wrong, but you had this in Allen Parish Industrial Board, and that's something separate from the Economic Development Board. Am I right? Or will that be merged into one entity? Or do we know?
We don't know that, but it is confusing, and it begs the question why there's so many boards under the Allen Parish Police Jury, that why would you just create another one without dissolving one?
Yeah, that's a good question. And a lot of these boards, y'all, are created and for different things throughout the parish. In other words, you have the Allen Parish Fair Board, for example. I'm just using a couple of examples. I think you have an airport board.
I think the airport board was dissolved because that was on the agenda,
Okay.
and they want to reactivate it, which again is questionable.
Right. And then you have like your drainage boards throughout the parish, things like that.
Ambulance board.
And if I'm not mistaken, the people who serve on these boards are nominees of police jurors, if I'm not mistaken.
I think for the most part.
Or that if someone is nominated to be on the board, it is the police jury to ratify that and to approve that.
Right. To my knowledge, there are no elections for any of these board members.
No, not for me.
One of the things, for instance, that this Economic Development Board and the Industrial Board would be involved with is the discussions of the biofuel projects. So that's why this is important.
Yes, it's very important. And then also, I think this local industrial board, or this parish industrial board, is going to receive guidance from the Louisiana Economic Development Board.
Right.
They seem to be really active. So I think it's good that before this board can act on anything, that their recommendations and have to be brought before the Allen Parish Police Jury and discussed and approved.
Right. And these boards are all subject to what's called the Louisiana Sunshine Laws, which dictates the Louisiana Open Meeting Laws. So this Economic Development Board, the Industrial Development Board, all these boards are supposed to give us notice as to the time and the place and the date of when these open meetings
when
would
they
take
have
place.
the meetings. And historically, there have been very few, if any, of the public that attends these meetings. But we just want to let people know that they are open public meetings. I know I used to serve on the Allen Parish Tourist Commission, and I know that our meetings were advertised, they were open to the public, and that we were required to publish our minutes in the local paper every month, or the months that we had a meeting. And we were also subject to audits.
To audits, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, not all of the boards are subject to full audits, but we'll get into that later. And but all of these meetings are supposed to be posted on the police jury website. For instance, the police jury meetings are the first Monday of every month at 6 p.m. at the police jury building. Well, somewhere on the website, there should be a standing meeting information area, and that goes through the whole year. So for instance, you should see that Allen Parish Police Jury meetings are conducted on the first Monday of every month at 6 p.m. at the Allen Parish Police Jury building. And that should be a standing meeting. And anything that changes, say that it's on Labor Day and they want to change it, then that should be noted.
Right.
And all of these committees and sub-boards are supposed to do that. So when the Economic Development Board has its first meeting in August, because this board actually goes into effect on August 1st of 2026, there should be advertisements for these open meetings. And there should be minutes published for all these meetings, and they should be accessible to all of us.
Correct. Correct.
So that's something that we need to pursue and make sure that every one of these boards follow through with the sunshine laws.
Right. And you know, part of the sunshine law, Mindy, we hear it over and over again. I've discussed it a couple of times. But we hear the word transparency.
Right.
Well, if you want to be truly transparent, you know what? You don't have a problem letting someone know when the meeting is. You don't have a problem publishing minutes and that kind of thing. So if true transparency is a real thing, all of these things should be just common sense and just flow into place without any big problems.
Right. And there should always be an agenda prepared and published at least 24 hours before the actual meeting. And last minute changes to the agenda should be voted on at the police jury meeting. So, and anybody who attends these meetings can record the meetings.
Right.
So,
and most of them and most of these meetings, or all of them, allow, if there is someone from the public or a visitor there, that they recognize them and allow them to speak for a couple of minutes.
Right. And you hear about executive sessions. There's only a couple of reasons why there should be executive sessions, and those are closed and not public, and that is to discuss pending litigation and employee performance type things.
Employee-related subjects only. Those, you shouldn't, or I don't think executive meetings are designed for anything else besides
Correct.
Those mentioned things.
And there's no voting in a secret meeting, executive session. So we have to keep that in mind. So the bottom line is, all these boards need to publish clearly the dates, times, and addresses for all these board meetings. And anybody who wishes to attend may attend, and they may record them.
Right.
Ideally, they would be on the police jury website, because I don't know if any of these other boards have their own websites.
I don't know. Some perhaps do and some don't. And I don't know. It's a good question, but I think, or a good comment. I think that if they're a subdivision of the police jury, that the police jury on their website should have that information accessible to the public.
Right. So that's something that we'll continue to update you on the numerous boards, how to attend them, how to find out when they are, and to read minutes if you would like to find out what's actually going on in all of these meetings and these boards, because it begs the question of why do we have so many boards? Some of them I understand. The fire district boards, okay, they're focused on fire protection.
Right.
The ambulance service board is focused on ambulance services.
Right.
And the fair board should be focused on making a great fair, because that takes a lot of work and a lot of coordination. So some of those I can understand, but there's some of them we probably don't even know they exist.
And that's true. That's true. And other thing I'd like to bring up, Mindy, talking about boards, is, you know, we hear people that we know are always grumbling about how things are progressing in our town, in our parish, and in our state. And we encourage everyone that you have a responsibility to pay attention to what's going on. And I think most elected officials welcome public comments from people who are informed. Now a lot of times I'm sure the only time they hear from the public is when they've got a problem. But I think it's important for the public to be involved, go to some of these meetings, and communicating with your representatives in government. They probably are going to do a better job at representing you.
Also, one of the things that someone made a comment at the last police jury meeting, that it's hard to get people to volunteer to be on some of these boards. So you may see a lot of people on one person on several boards.
Right.
So that would be something that you could contact your police juror and tell them that you're willing to volunteer on some of these boards, right, so that we can get a wider range of people there, so that we can better serve across the sections, right, of all the parish. With that, if you have any questions about this, any of these boards, feel free to comment and ask any question. We might not be able to answer it, but we will surely try to find an answer for you. And with that, I think that we will be at the next police jury meeting. That's August the 3rd.
We will be at the next one because there were several items that were tabled or labeled for discussion at this meeting. So there are some carryover items from the last meeting that weren't resolved, so to speak, that should be taken care of at this next meeting. So it's important that if you're interested, show up at the meeting, attend and listen and see firsthand.
And again, the qualifying dates for the upcoming elections are August the 5th, 6th, and 7th. And we have a lot of races. We have our U.S. congressional race, our U.S. Senate race, mayor races, police chief races, school board races, council races. So it's important that we look at each candidate, we find out if their interests and ideals match with ours.
Exactly.
And because everything starts at the local level. All of our elected officials at the federal level came from a local level.
That's right.
So you have to be very diligent in making sure that you vote for the right people at the local level. Because your good neighbor may not be a good mayor. They may not be a good councilman. They may not be a good representative. So you have to be objective and make sure that whoever you vote for is going to represent your ideals and what you want for the community.
Exactly. And then once they get elected, hopefully, and it's your candidate, that while they are serving, that you will contribute to some information to help them to make better decisions that affect all of us.
Correct. So, and with that, my normal reminder that there's the Oberlin Farmers Market on Wednesdays from 9 to 1. You still have the CDL classes that are available to you August 18th through the 20th. And is there anything else?
That's about all for now. So we'll see y'all next time.
Stay cool.
Bye.